I've been studying astronomy for a long time, but I didn't really understand the equivalence principle from general relativity until I went to Disney World a couple years ago and rode on an old ride called Star Tours. And Star Tours is one of those rides where you sit in a big box, looks kind of like this. All right. You're in this big box, and the whole box tips forward and back, up and down, and you're watching what's happening on a big screen in front of you. And you feel the motion even though the box is just tipping around and moving back and forth. And as I was writing this with my daughter, I was like, oh, this is the equivalence principle. That is like literally what I was thinking. And I want to just illustrate that for you with a simple drawing. So when you're sitting in that giant box and you're just sitting in your chair and the box is totally flat. So I'm going to sort of draw the box. Let's just say this is time one here, as the box is kind of just, sitting like that. So here's our little chair that we're sitting in inside that box. And when you're sitting there, you're like, okay, everything's great. I don't feel like I'm accelerating or slowing down or doing any of those things. But what I want you to picture is, what would you feel inside that box if this car, let's say you're in a spaceship or you're in a car or in whatever you are, but let's just say it suddenly took off with some huge velocity, just started going really, really fast. Well, what you would feel inside this, in your seat, in a sense, is you would feel your body like pushing backwards, right? You'd get thrown back in your seat, right? Oh man, I'm getting pulled back in my seat because I'm accelerating so fast. That's what you feel if that car were to just take off running really, really fast. Well, how can we reproduce this just by tilting the box? All I would have to do in order to reproduce that feeling is just tilt my box upward like this. I wouldn't even have to set it moving, right? And in fact, the more I tip it up, the more I would feel like I'm accelerating in my chair. In fact, according to the equivalence principle, those two sensations are completely equivalent. There is no experiment that you can do to tell the difference between this box, this like car tilting up into the air, or this car like accelerating really, really fast, heading forward. Now, vice versa, I can do the same thing if I want to pretend like I am going really, really fast and then I'm suddenly slowing down. So imagine you're in this car, it's flying along, and then somebody slams on the brakes, right? And you're wearing a seatbelt, right? Because you better be wearing a seatbelt, because your body, if you slam on the brakes, it's going to be going, whoa, flying forward, unless that seatbelt were to catch you. In fact, you'll feel the weight of your body against the seatbelt, probably. Let's put the seatbelt in here so we know we're not falling down. All right. You'll kind of be like hanging against that seatbelt while the brakes are being slammed. And you'll see that that actually is also equivalent to just tilting the box downward, right? I mean, the extreme case, here's my chair. The extreme case would be tilting it all the way like this, right? And then you'd be like hanging on your seatbelt, right? And so just by how we orient and tilt this box, we can create the equivalent sensation of accelerating or slamming on the brakes. Now, I want to show you here in this nice little illustration. In the upper right corner, it's actually showing what the passengers are seeing. And watch how the car moves to emulate the sensation. So they're flying around, going down, and now they're going to get ready to jump into hyperspace. So watch as they're flying into hyperspace. What does the car do? We're going to accelerate. Whoa, we're tipping up. Whoa, inside you feel like you're getting thrown back against your chair. And now get ready, we're going to stop. Slam on the brakes. Look what it did. It just tilted straight down. And so now you're leaning forward against your seatbelt, and you feel like the brakes just got slammed. So this is an amazing application of the equivalence principle. You can really recreate the sensation of acceleration and deceleration simply by tipping a box up and down and forward and back. Super cool.